Stairs, making and editing types. So in another video, we looked at how to make this stair. So we talked about the sketch mode, we talked about the ribbon. We also had to move this stair out by 1 inch just to see that riser. So there's a number of little things that I want to talk about in this particular video, which is talking about making and editing types. First of all, let's talk about the math. Where does it get the math from? Well, you click on the stair, you'll look in just the instance properties, and you'll see that there's the basic criteria for how high this stair is going to go. So it says -1 foot. We could change that to -9 inches. Okay, and then it adjusts appropriately within reason. Then you have other things in there like, let's click on that stair again. You have things like, do I want to see labels? And that would be in plan view. So if I go to my top of floor 1, do I want to see the up label, the down label? Do I want to see arrows? It has width. That I would change in the sketch mode. Same thing with desired number of risers. But this is all speaking right here to just right in this little spot, what is the math used? Now, it doesn't really allow me to change some of this, like the actual number or the actual riser height. How do we do that? How do we control that? Well, that's where if you go into Edit Type, I can now duplicate and I can make my own stair. So I could call this S1. That'll be my stair 1. Now, this is where it gives you all of the information about the stair. And especially I want to focus on the mathematical information. So here we have the minimum tread depth. Notice also we have the riser. So we have the maximum riser height. So it's not going to go higher than 7 inches, but these ones right here, we're trying to divide 9 inches in half. So they have to be 4.5 each. And that's fine. That's under 7. There's 2 risers. Now it won't go up as high as 9 because if it's above 7, it'll say, okay, time for a new riser. So that's how it gets its math. There's a lot of other settings in here. A lot of them are aesthetic. You have things like the nosing. That right there is not quite aesthetic. That also is dimensional. A lot of this is the style and look of the stair that you're working on. And this is something that we'll look at in later videos in depth. So many different stair types that you can make: concrete, wood, metal pan, and lots and lots more. So that's something that as we get going in other videos, we can look specifically at these examples. Now, one more thing we need to look at, and that is the risers. Let's just say okay, because there is a small issue with Revit stairs that I like to point out when I teach. Remember in another video when we were talking about the properties palette of stairs, we took our whole staircase and we moved it 1 inch out from the wall, and I wanted you to be able to see the riser. So what is that? Let's go back to our default 3D view right up in the quick access toolbar. So that's it right there. Now, why is that there? That's because in the setting of the stair, it asks you, do you want to end with a riser? So let's click on the stair. Let's edit type. And let's say no to end with riser. So we're going to begin with a riser, but we're not going to end with a riser. And let's say okay to that. Now, it does give us a little message here stating that the number of risers is different from what we want. But really what we're looking at, we wanted to get rid of that little piece of material that was hanging on and just going vertical there. So now let's look at this in plan view. So you can see here that the riser was at where? Under the nosing, 1 inch set back. That's why when we moved it out 1 inch, you could see it. So really at the last riser, that's something that you need to watch with in Revit and make sure that you know where your stairs are ending. So I'm going to double click on that. And now you can see, if I just zoom in, I went a little faster. Let me redo that. Okay, so here's our stair. We've moved it right back flush. So it's just 1 riser, and any nosing would have to get tacked on to the front of this floor. Let's double click on the section head. That'll take us right to that section. So here we can see there's our stair, there's the tread, and notice there's no nosing, there's no riser. It just ends right there. The distance, let's confirm our distance. Annotate, aligned, or you can type in DI. So that's 4.5, good. And that should be 4.5, good. So we've confirmed that, and now we can move along. Let's go back to our exterior 3D view, and now we can see that little mini stair that we created.